Hello and welcome to our brand new webinar dedicated to the snack bar application. My name is Élise Grolière. I'm the marketing manager for all snacks and breakfast cereals applications, and I'm hosting today's webinar with Anne-Sophie Godard, our R&D application manager for snacks and breakfast cereals as well. You will be with us for the next 30 minutes, where we will talk about the snack bars market trends, present our ingredient solutions with innovative recipes, and of course, we will save some time at the end for all of your questions. Before starting, just a few rules about our webinar. You are all on mute. If you have any questions during the webinar, please ask them on the questions tabs, or you can also put it in the chat. We will answer to all your questions at the end of the webinar. If we don't have time to do all the questions, we will answer to you personally after this webinar. Of course, the presentation will be sent right after, plus you will have access to the replay. So let's start by putting the snack market context. It's a very dynamic market with a projection of plus 4.9% value growth over the next 5 years, benefiting from consumers who prefer convenient on-the-go meal and snacks options. So the long-term rise of this on-the-go snacking and also the rise in snacking between meals has really helped the snack bar market to grow in Europe. Here we see that UK is the major market in Europe. So it's really the country that is leading this category. And if we look more into details at the segments, we see that energy bar is the fastest growing segment with nutritional formulations that really makes them the perfect workout snack. But what's really driving the innovation for this category? So we know that sensory appeal and enjoyment are still the main reasons why consumers turn to food products overall. And taste is really the number one priority. So we as industrials should never compromise on that. So no matter how healthy we want our products to be, it has to be tasteful. Because yes, consumers across the globe are now more health conscious. They feel post-conception guilt after indulging on their favorite food. So as a result of all of that, moments of indulgence like snackings are becoming more considered. They pay more attention to the ingredient lists and look for healthier versions of their snacks. So that's why we talk about energy boost and immunity claims that are coming more and more. So yes, 69% of consumers describe snack bars as a moment of indulgence, but 67% of consumers view them also as a nutritional boost. Looking more in details at the nutritional attributes, we notice that the trendiest claims are about high protein with plant-based ingredients, and of course, all of that with a clean labeling. Here we just put some information about consumers across Europe. We see that 1/3 of snack bar launched in 2022 have a high or added protein claim, so in Europe, and consumers really declare a specific interest in such claims. So let's move on to our solutions to answer to these specific needs for snacks bar categories and how to innovate more and more with such products. So here at Limagrain Ingredients, we have a range of specialty ingredients dedicated to this application, with puffed grains, toasted ingredients, functional ingredients, and inclusions to increase the level of proteins or fibers of your recipes. But I won't say more right now and leave it to Anne-Sophie, who will explain everything. Anne-Sophie, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Élise. So snack bars are generally made following this process. A blend of dry ingredients fed and mixed with a syrup or a binder, then spread in a thick layer going through compression rows and baked in an oven and cut in bars. But where can we add some of our ingredients? Actually, most of our ingredients can be included in the dry ingredient blend, such as toasted ingredients, puffed grain, seeds, paste ball, and functional flours. Some specific ingredients, such as cereal binder or specific functional flour, can be blended within the syrup recipe and added in the mixing step to stick all ingredients together. Why using our ingredients in your snack bars? For many reasons. First, some of them can be part of nutritional content improvement of the bar by adding some proteins and fibers without any compromise on the taste. All our ingredients are stabilized and stable along shelf life because they all have been processed through a thermal treatment, sometimes just for stability, some of them for functionality or sensory properties. Using our ingredients is also a manner to stand out in the shelves with new shape, color, texture, and taste, keeping the main actual trend, which is naturality. All our ingredients are clean label and use any additives. Now we will focus on puff grain. So puff grain is a whole cereal grain which is puffed. It is not a reconstituted grain made by extrusion, it's very different. So looking at the process, raw material, so the cereal grains, are conditioning through sieving, magnet, destoning, and polish process. So we have clean grains ready to be processed. Then the grains are preheated to be prepared before to be puffed in a pressure cooking tank, adjusted by pressure and temperature parameters to obtain the right density. Then these grains are dried to fix and stabilize the texture. They are cooled down and calibrated to get homogeneous and standardized batches before packing. Depending process parameters applied, we obtain two ranges in the puff grain, a high density one and a low density one. Usually for snack bars, we advise to use the low density ones to have a more adapted texture, a light crispy texture. But sometimes higher density are useful to give more dense and crunchy texture. A full range of species are available for various shape, taste and colors such as wheat, spelt, millet, rye, barley, quinoa, sorghum and so on. Part of the range is also available in organic version. Next, we will see a video showing a recipe using as main ingredient the puff millet. So the video is coming.
Cereal bar consumers are looking for healthier snacks compared to candies or chocolate, but taste and texture remain the most important criteria for choosing bars. It is therefore important to find the right balance between great flavors, healthy recipes, and clean label. Today we will present you a cereal bar recipe using our puffed cereals for different texture and lots of flavors.
For 200 grams of preparation, so 10 granola bars, you will need of 60 grams Presco millet. We choose puffed millet grains for their original color, light texture and light cereal taste. Presco millet is a whole grain millet that is expanded under heat and pressure. Other puffed grains can be chosen for different colors, textures or tastes. The more expanded, less dense ones will bring more lightness and crispiness. The denser ones will bring more chewiness and satiety. 40 grams of pistachio and 40 grams of cranberries. These dried fruits will bring color, texture and harmony of flavors. 60 grams of agave syrup. The agave syrup is a light syrup with sweetening effect which will allow to stick the millet and the dry fruits together to form the cereal bars. After cooking, the agave syrup will brown only slightly to keep the color of the ingredients. The agave syrup replaces here the sugar and glucose or fructose syrup, which are more caloric. 25 grams of rapeseed oil. This oil is naturally rich in omega-3 and 6 and low in saturated fatty acids. The fat is essential to preserve the ingredients from being colored by the sugar and helps the cereal bar to come out of the mold less sticky. Dark chocolate with a minimum of 60% cocoa. Chocolate is a coating option that goes very well with red fruits and pistachios for more deliciousness. Now that you have the recipe, we can start the preparation. First, weigh all the ingredients in different bowls. In this recipe, it is important to crush the pistachio and cut the cranberries in order to obtain smaller and more palatable pieces. This will allow better distribution of flavors in the bar. We are going to mix in a bowl the dried fruits prepared with Prisco meal. For the moment, the ingredients are dry. Then we add the agave syrup and rapeseed oil to the dry ingredients in the bowl. We mix with the wooden spoon in a light way to keep the integrity of the ingredients that will bring the visual and texture. It's important to spread the syrup evenly over all the ingredients, so they can be well coated. Now we can proceed to the shaping. Simply weigh out 20 grams of the mixture and place it in the silicone molds. Press with the back of the tablespoon or a spatula to obtain a regular surface. We have chosen a dome-shaped mold, but you can also use tartlet or rectangular molds. We can now move on the baking step. Place your mold on a baking sheet and bake for 35 minutes at 150 degrees in a fan oven. Once baked, the bar is still soft when it comes out of the oven. Wait a few minutes before unmolding it. After a complete cooling, the texture and structure of the cereal bar hardens and sets. With this recipe, we obtain a Nutri-Score C. For more deliciousness, you can coat a part of the cereal bar with chocolate, the bottom for example. To do this, you need to temper the chocolate. The temperature to melt the chocolate are indicated on the packaging of the chosen chocolate. Follow the recommendation carefully. Once the chocolate is melted, dip the base of the bar in the chocolate and place on a baking paper to fix it. When the chocolate returns to room temperature, your cereal bar will be ready to eat.
With or without chocolate, make your choice and enjoy!
So to sum up, the Presco range will help you in taste and texture, as many cereals are available for visible markers, various taste, shape and color, crunchy or crispy texture and natural looks, but also for nutrition, as it reduces calories per size, especially for low density, high volume puffed grains, and you increase the fibers and protein content depending which cereal you choose. This puffed grain can be added in the recipe or can replace part of Crispies and or oat flakes, the standard main ingredients in a snack bar. So on this slide, you can see the protein and fibers content on some Presco puff grains. Looking at the Presco Dinkel, which is the spelt one, we have more protein than oat flakes, and looking at puffed barley and rye, they contain more fibers than oat flakes. If we compare puffed grain to Rice Krispies, most of them are richer in fibers and proteins, especially puffed rye kernel with 13% of fibers and Presco Millet with 11% of proteins. Now we will focus on toasted product. Toasted ingredient range is a part of the grain or broken grain or even grain in flour shape going through a heat treatment process to give a toasted color and taste. 3 ingredients in this range are suitable for snack bars, and they are: first, the toasted broken chickpea. The chickpea grain is broken in small pieces and toasted, so we keep the chickpea taste without the bitterness of the crude grain. Its nutritional content with 24% of protein and 50% of fibers, and the toasting step give a nice crunchiness to this product. Then the Nutri-Corn. This one is a toasted maize germ with all its benefits, and it is high in fibers, about 20%, high in protein content, about 18%, and rich in magnesium, about 800 milligrams per 100 grams. A nutritional concentrate with a great taste and crunchy texture, a bit like nuts. The last one is toasted buckwheat. Here we have the full toasted grain with less nutritional advantage compared to the two others, but a really great texture, crispy and crunchy and really tasty. An ingredient for pleasure. All these ingredients are clean label, gluten-free, and suitable for vegan product. So we can use these toasted ingredients for pleasure, nutritional purpose, but also to develop an allergen-free recipe by replacing nuts, and texture is quite similar, to work on cost reduction, as almond and hazelnut are more expensive than these ingredients. Looking at the control granola bar recipe containing 16.4% of nuts, we replace totally the nuts by Nutricorn or toasted broken chickpea, so a nut-free recipe. Replacing almond by Nutricorn make a reduction of 45% on almond cost in the recipe and 35% for the toasted broken chickpea. Replacing hazelnut by Nutricorn make a reduction of 37% on hazelnut cost in the recipe and 26% for the toasted broken chickpea. To sum up, toasted ingredients are pieces of pulses or cereals with a natural looking, clean label with authentic toasted taste, specific taste depending chosen species, and crunchy texture. They are full of nutritious elements, fibers, proteins, minerals, especially for Nutricorn and toasted broken chickpea. They are all gluten-free and can replace all content of nuts for nut-free snack bars, for example. They can be added to existing recipe to enhance nutrition and taste, or they can replace part of ingredients such as oat flakes or nuts for cost or nutrition purpose. So now we'll focus on Pez Ball, the protein solution. Pez Ball are extruded pulses to use in your recipe as inclusion ingredients to ensure a plant-based protein enhancement and a great natural inclusion in snack bars application. In the range, we have 3 Pez Ball, all natural plant-based protein with 100% of pulses, very easy to implement in your recipe, as easy as Crispies with clear and clean label. So 2 Pez Ball are small round-shaped balls with crunchy texture, cooked pulse taste, so without crude bitterness of the pulses. They are chickpea Pez Ball and red bean and pea Pez Ball. They are containing 12 to 14% of fibers and 23 to 35% of protein to enhance nutritional value of your snack bar. Last but not least is the pea and faba bean Pez Ball. This one is in granulated shape with crunchy and easy to bite texture, but its main advantage is its protein content with 65%. Enough to really improve the total protein intake of the snack bar and probably the Nutri-Score. Here you can find a recipe developed in collaboration with Institut Paul Bocuse with 12.3% of Pez Ball, pea and faba. The objective is to develop a nice snack bar with great taste, adding proteins in the recipe, using pulses, so in the Eat Vegetable trend, with the clear and clean label. Adding the Pez Ball have no impact on the process, as it is added in dry ingredient mix and very easy to use, such as Crispies. So this recipe is well balanced between cereals and oat flakes and brands, fruit with apricot and raisins, the nuts with almonds and peanuts, and also seeds with pumpkin seeds and pulses with the Pez Ball. So now we'll have a look at the functional flour. First of all, the pulses flour. So we have a full range you can add in your snack bars to improve the proteins and the fibers intake. Why functional flour? Because of their technological and sensory interest. Thanks to the heat treatment, hydration capacity is improved, microbial development is stabilized with a longer shelf life, and typical crude pulse taste is reduced with no bitterness. The heat treatment allows to declare these ingredients as pulse flours, so in a clear and clean way. In the range, we have fine flours and granulated ones. Granulated ones can be interesting to give more texture to a protein bar, for example, as it gives a pulpy texture when it is hydrated. Adding this functional pulses flour allows to add proteins from vegetables to other protein often used, such as dairy proteins in snack bars. So you vary the sources of proteins and add different vegetable sources than fruits. In the range, we have faba bean, red bean, chickpea, yellow lentil, red lentil, and green pea. Some of them are available in organic version and granulated version. Faba bean and red lentil have the highest content in protein with 29%, and red bean is the most balanced flour with 23% of protein and 90% of fibers. At the end of the table, you can see the Innocent syrup binder, which is a wheat flour with same stated functionalities. We will have a look now. So it is a clean label wheat flour with high binding properties, declared as a clean label wheat flour, very easy to use. You just need to mix the syrup binder with all sugars and water, no need to cook. The final texture is fixed when the bar is baked. In the recipe, part of sugar is replaced by the syrup binder, so it decreases also the sugar content in the bar from 24% in the control recipe down to 15% in the trial recipe. So 35% less added sugar in the recipe.
Thanks a lot, Anne-Sophie. So just to sum up all of our ingredient solutions for snack bars, everything is clean label. It's quite easy to use and implement in your recipes, and you can have several different textures or nutritional intakes depending on what you choose. So if you need any samples to do some tests in-house, just call us. Our teams are here to help you and also help you develop your specific recipes depending on your needs in terms of textures or nutrition. So now let's move on to the and answer session. If you have any questions, please ask them on the chat. We already received a first one, and Sophie, I will ask that to you. What's the impact with the new Nutri-Score algorithm?
So the new Nutri-Score algorithm will favorize the granola bar that will be low in sugars and high in nutrients such as fibers and proteins. So it's true that even if you have already some proteins and fibers in your snack bar, with the new Nutri-Score, if you have a lot of sugar in your bar, you have the risk to decrease the Nutri-Score. Maybe you will have a A or B Nutri-Score at the moment, and in the future your bar will be maybe C or D Nutri-Score.
Okay, thanks. And as a transition to the second question, knowing that, how can we develop a Nutri-Score A bar? Because we see that it's quite difficult today to reach the A level. So how can we achieve that?
Yes, it is very difficult. At the moment, there's not so many bar with the A Nutri-Score on the market. The ones that you can find generally are very, very high in fibers. And if you look at the sugar, obviously, they are very low in sugar. But of course, you have also to be careful to the fats, using only unsaturated fats. And also enhance the proteins may help to do that. So using some of our ingredients can be useful, to add some fibers and some proteins. But obviously, there's a lot of work to do also on the sugars.
Okay. Thanks a lot. I don't see more questions coming in our question tabs. So if some questions are popping up right after our webinar, please feel free to send that to us. We'll be happy to help and respond to it. So thanks, everyone. Thank you, Anne-Sophie, for the presentation.
Thank you.
You will have access to the presentation and the video right after this webinar. And if you have any questions, you have our contacts right here. Thanks a lot and have a good day.